So here we are to look on to the idea of market equilibrium. Let's understand the idea of market equilibrium in this session. In order to understand market equilibrium, first of all, we need to understand two concepts, that is demand and supply. So move on to the idea of demand. When we talk about demand, it is something that we refer to demand for a product. The demand for a product would be something that we can define by considering desire, which is backed by ability to pay and willingness to pay. So what are these three aspects? Desire, ability to pay, and willingness to pay. So let's analyze these here. Desire. Desire means wish to purchase a good. If you would like to purchase a good, you will be purchasing it. Sometimes, but in some other instances, you might not be purchasing it. We will see why this kind of differences come. Demand won't be complete just with wish. In order to have demand in a complete sense, this desire should be substantiated and supported by two other factors. That is ability to pay and willingness to pay. Now, what is ability to pay? Ability to pay involves the money that you have in your hand. Money in hand. So this is something that is being influenced by your income. If you have money with you, you can purchase it, right? That is what is being shown by your ability. If you have money, you are able to pay for a commodity. Now, that is not enough. Once you have desire, once you have ability, and both of this, again, this is not enough to have demand completed. In order to have a complete demand case, we should have these two things supported by willingness to pay. So what is it all about willingness to pay? Willingness to pay means willingness to spend your money to purchase the good. So you have wish for purchasing the commodity. Now you do have money with you. But what will happen if you keep your money with you and if you plan to save the money? You won't be able to have a complete demand there, right? So if you're willing to spend your money to get your desired commodity, that there comes the role of demand. And also you need to understand that demand is always at a price. So that means you should refer to demand by considering price. So price is something very much related to demand. Now, having understood the concept of demand, let's consider the idea called law of demand. Here, you need to understand that there have been many concepts that would be influencing your demand to purchase a commodity. So we have seen about income, we have seen about the wish to purchase a commodity, but we are not considering all these kinds of things here. Instead, we are just analyzing the relationship between two aspects, that is price and quantity. Price and quantity demanded. All other things and all other aspects we assume as these remain as constant. So this is just for the sake of simplicity that we are assuming like this. Okay. Now, when we consider the relationship between price and quantity demanded, we could find that there is such an inverse relationship between these two parameters. How? This can be established with what is called a demand curve. Demand curve. So to have demand curve, you can take demand or quantity demanded along the x-axis and price can be taken along the y-axis. And when you relate prices and the corresponding quantity that has been purchased at different prices, you will be able to get a negatively sloped curve. So this green line is what is known by demand curve. To analyze demand curve in a much more detailed manner, let's consider 2 points along the demand curve. Let it be point A and let it be point B. 2 points. So at point A, you will be having a corresponding price. Let it be P0. And also, you will be having a corresponding quantity, that is Q0. Again, at point B also, you will be having a corresponding price, which will be P dash, and corresponding quantity would also be there, that is Q dash. Now you could find that when you move down from A to B, so what is happening? Prices is coming down, right? So as a result of price coming down from P0 to P dash, quantity demanded is increasing. So one is coming down and the other one is increasing. There exists an inverse relation. That is why demand curve is having a negative slope. This negative slope in demand curve is due to law of demand. Now, we need to understand the other side of the market, that is supply and law of supply. So what is it all about? Supply means the quantity that sellers are willing to sell. So here we need to understand that we are not considering actual sales. We are not considering actual sale. Instead, we consider the willingness part. How much quantity a particular person is willing to sell in the market at prevailing price level in the economy. Now, when you consider law of supply, we look on to the relationship between price and quantity supplied. Here also we assume that all other things affecting supply remaining as constant. So here we get supply curve, and supply curve is a positively sloped line here. This black line. So to analyze supply curve in a much more detailed manner, let's consider 2 points along the supply curve. This is point B and this is point A. So at corresponding to point A, you will be having a price, that is P0, a quantity supplied, that is Q0. And corresponding to point B also, you will be having a price, that is P dash, and quantity supplied, that is Q dash. So we can find that when the price is more, what happens to quantity supplied? This would also be more. When the price is less, quantity supplied would also be less. So there exists a direct relation between price and quantity supplied, and that is why your supply curve is having a positive slope. Here, the relationship between price and quantity supplied is direct. Having understood supply and law of supply, now we can move on to the idea called market equilibrium. Now, this is very easy once we know the idea of demand and supply. Because here on the x-axis, on same line, we will be taking quantity, and on y-axis on same line, we will be taking prices. And we are having the negatively sloped demand curve and positively sloped supply curve. Now, what is it all about equilibrium? Equilibrium is a scenario of balance. And what balance? We are considering balance between supply and demand. So, such an equilibrium point is something that we could attain by the intersection point of demand curve and supply curve. And if you look onto this diagram, you can find that at this particular point, you will be having an equilibrium with the intersection point of both demand and supply curves. So this point is being represented as E, and this is the market equilibrium point. So corresponding to this particular point, you will be having what is called a price, that is indicated as P1, and also you will be having a corresponding quantity that is indicated as Q1. Now what happens? If you look onto this market equilibrium situation, this particular point E, you can find that quantity demanded represented by QD is equal to Q1. Quantity supply represented by QS is also equal to Q1. So both are equal to this, right? So from this, you could find that at equilibrium point, QD is equal to QS is equal to Q1. So both quantity demanded and supplied would be equal to the same at the point of equilibrium. And what happens in the case of price? The demand price, that is represented as dP, is equal to P1. Supply price represented as SP is also equal to P1, this price. And at point of equilibrium, we could find that demand price is equal to supply price is equal to P1, which is yet another aspect to consider. At point of market equilibrium, demand price is always equal to supply price. So this is a basic idea called market equilibrium. Hope you could understand. Thank you.